I think my biggest takeaway from that book is it was YA, but Alec Barzewski was not! Hello my lovies, I'm Lilian-Lee and welcome to my library. A few ground rules before we get settled in for today. Number 1, please use your inside voices. Number 2, do be respectful to other library goers. And number 3, please remember to put back your books and materials back where you found them on time. If you do not, this week's penalty will be you won't get to have your necklaces tangled up in a locker room. And the girls who get it, get it. So for today's episode, this will be a book review of some kind. It's not even a book review, this is like a book chat. This is FaceTime with the girls, telling you how it felt reading this book. And as you can see, the book that I'll be going through today is Fake Skating by Lynn Painter. Lynn Painter is one of my all-time favorite authors, and Fake Skating solidified that for me. My Goodreads review is 2 sentences. 1, this has solidified Lynn Painter as an author for me. And 2, I love Zeus. That's all you need to know about this book. For those who maybe don't know this book specifically, but like, girl, where have you been? You might know Lynn Painter. She has written Better Than the Movies, Nothing Like the Movies, The Do-Over, Made for Each Other. So she is an author she gets it. I love Lynn. She is an amazing writer. All her stories are just beautiful. Before this book, my favorite Lynn Painter was The Do-Over. It's a really, really short story. It's a Valentine's Day romance, you know, a Groundhog Day thing where you're reliving the same day over and over, but it was so cute. Oh, there's my dog, he agrees. I think every single episode you will hear my dog agreeing with me on some point. But The Do-Over was my favorite Lynn Painter, and then Better Than the Movies was also really cute. I loved it, I enjoyed it. But this, oh my days, West Bennett has some competition! So how the rest of this episode is going to be going is, firstly, I'm going to start off with a spoiler-free discussion and review about the book. Maybe for those of you who have not read it yet, and you just would like to know, hey, should I read this or not? In advance, let me tell you, you should read this. It is an amazing book. But I'll start off with the spoiler-free review. Then I'll go into spoilers. I'm gonna get deep into it, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go through what I liked, what I didn't like, and just what the overall experience was reading this book. And then we're going to go through just a few unhinged 1-star reviews I saw on Goodreads. It's not even though they were unhinged, I just thought they were so funny, they made me laugh, and I'm going to do that with every single book that we do. I will read the 1-star reviews because, hey, not everyone will like the same books that you liked, but it's still good to expose yourself to other people's opinions. We do not exist in an echo chamber, we don't exist in vacuums over in this library, okay? We have to be open to other opinions, even when it comes to people not liking the same books you like. The world is not gonna end, babe. But I think before we get into the book itself, I want to say what I'm currently reading at this moment in time. You know, since this is our book video, why not just talk a little bit about books I'm experiencing right now? So at this moment, I'm reading 2 books. You know, I'm a mood reader. I'm basically reading 10 books right now, but my top 2 that I'm going through are Normal People by Sally Rooney and I think it's Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I started Book Lovers, I think maybe over 5 months ago. But the problem is I haven't been able to really get into it. I love Emily Henry's writing, and this is my first book of hers. I love her writing style. It's so beautiful, but I'm just really not getting into the story. And I say this, I'm 70% through in the book. Through, and I'm saying, yeah, you know, I'm really not getting into the story, you know, maybe I'll get there at this point. I'm almost done and I'm still not committed. So I read the book on and off, but I'm committing myself to be able to finish it because I want to experience other Emily Henry books. I know People We Meet on Vacation, that movie dropped last month, and I loved it. It was amazing, but I had not read any of her books before that. When I started that Emily Henry book a couple months ago, I wasn't reading it with the intention of thinking, I'm really gonna like this author. I was just reading what people recommended was her best book, according to a few reviews I'd seen. But after watching People We Meet on Vacation, I decided, no, I really actually should maybe get into Emily Henry. Because again, from her writing, she's an incredible author, and I really believe I would love her work. But damn, book lovers is hard to get into. Again, I'm 70% through. But hopefully I will finish it soon and we can do a video on that, or episode. Again, some people are listening, not watching. The other book I'm reading, Normal People. This was actually recommended to me by my best friend years ago, but she recommended the show as well. She recommended to me this book like 5 years ago, but it's only this year I've started reading it. I don't even know what got me into wanting to read it, but I just decided one day, you know what, let me get this ebook. I think now's the time in life I should start reading it. So I'm not that far in. I only started it about a week ago, and so far it is quite good. It's not like there's anything happening yet for me to have a solid opinion about it, but it's a good story so far, and I think it's got a really good premise, and I do think I'll enjoy it. So yeah, those are the books I'm currently reading. But I also forgot that last video I forgot to give a book tour of the book situation I've got going on next to me. So people who see me on video have noticed that I've just got books to my left and to my right. This is my gang, we're about to pull up. But these are just books that are some of my faves that I decided to have on display for my video content. I do have a little bit of a bookshelf. I'm not rich. I don't have like a full shelf of books, but my desk that I work at has a couple of shelves, and there I can put some books. So I don't have many, but you know, it's honest work. So I'm just gonna go through a tour of some of the books I've got on here because, you know, it'll be nice to just explain them. So on the one side of me, I've got sort of a bluish color scheme going on. So it starts off with a hardcover version of Little Women, and it's really, really cute. It's a dark blue color with gold on the, what is this part of the book called? The spine? There we go. Gold detailing on the spine. It's really, really nice. Again, my dog, he's like, girl, you gotta shape up. Anyway, next I've got Looking for Alaska by John Green, The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and then some more books, Paper Town by John Green. For those who might be wondering, yes, John Green is one of my favorite authors. He doesn't even write in the genre that I primarily read. He's not a romance writer, but I just adore his books. There's always something I can take away from them. I always feel seen in some way in his books, and he's just a really, really good person too. I mean, he does Crash Course with his brother. He writes non-fiction books that really make you think, like Everything is Tuberculosis. He's a great thinker. That man is a genius, and I just love John Green. So we've got 3 of his books on here as well. Then I've also got Animal Farm by George Orwell and Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre as well. So those are books I've got on one side, and they've got like a bluish or just a light color scheme. Then on the other side of me, it's the more, I would say, modern books, and they fall more in line with what I read now. So there's more romances, but I do have my favorite book of all time, The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I think that's how I say his name. I've never had to say it out loud, but I love The Perks of Being a Wallflower. It is my favorite book ever. It really shaped me in some way, especially during high school. Very monumental book in my life. But then on top of that, I've got 2 Ali Hazelwood books, Love Theoretically and Check and Mate. Check and Mate was my first ever Ali Hazelwood read, and it's a YA, but I thought it was so cute and it was so nice. So I decided to read The Love Hypothesis next. That was definitely not a YA. She is not a YA writer, and I did not know that after reading Check and Mate. Still, I thought it was cool. I mainly got Check and Mate because I play chess a little bit, and I thought, oh, this would be nice to do. And then just the chemistry between her characters in that book was so good. I read The Love Hypothesis. That was extremely good, even though I wasn't expecting it not to be YA. After Love Hypothesis, jumped into Love Theoretically. Love that. Jumped into Deep End. The girls who get it. Jumped into Deep End next. And now I'm debating on which book to read next. I think I'll read Not in Love, but I've heard people say that's not like one of her greatest books. But, you know, I love, you know, I love the, what do they call it, STEMinist literature? You know, the women in STEM representation. Ali Hazelwood really writes good books in general, but these women in STEM female leads, they're amazing. They're really, really good and well written. But I do say that when people say if you've read one Ali Hazelwood book, you've read them all, I do agree. I cannot tell the difference between Love Theoretically and The Love Hypothesis. You cannot ask me what happened in either book separately. I'll just tell you in general what happens between those books, and we can try to figure out together if it was Love Hypothesis or Love Theoretically. But I still rated them both 5 stars. Then I've got We'll Always Have Summer and It's Not Summer Without You by Jenny Han. I also have The Summer I Turned Pretty. It's just that the spine is a very different color to It's Not Summer Without You and We'll Always Have Summer. So I just didn't include it on the shelf, but do know that I do have these in my life. I just have not read them because they belong to my sister. And then lastly, the book I've got next to me is a volume of 3 Jane Austen books. It's Pride and Prejudice, Mansfield Park, and Persuasion. And I would say out of all of the books here around me, there's only 1, 2, 3 that I've not read. Everything else I've read here. The only things I've not read is, well, the Pride and Prejudice, I mean, the Jane Austen book, it counts as 3 books actually, so maybe it's like a whole more books, but it's just the Jane Austen thing and the 2 Jenny Han books I have not read. But other than that, I've read these, but when it comes to my like proper bookshelf, there's a lot of unread books there. There's a lot going on there. I have way too many books that I've not read yet. Ooh, but I keep on like getting new books and reading other things. It's a problem for another day. But anyway, that was just a quick book tour and a quick what I'm currently reading. So now let's get into the main discussion and talk about fake skating. So the spoiler-free summary of this book, and I'm gonna do this as best as I can. I finished reading this book about 2-3 weeks ago, so to my memory, to my knowledge, we're gonna see how this runs. I think when it comes to the spoiler review, it's gonna be even more chaotic, but the spoiler-free version starts now. So essentially, Fake Skating is about these 2 childhood best friends, Danny Collins and Alec Barzuski. They used to be, you know, close as thieves. They grew up with each other, and they had sort of like a falling out of sorts, because Danny, she is a military kid, so she had to move around a lot. The only time she was in that town was when she was staying with her grandpa, because her grandfather fully stays in that town, and when they were visiting him, that's when she would be able to see Alec, and they were really good friends. But when her dad, who's, you know, the military one, when her dad had, you know, deployments somewhere else, they had to move around. And there was a time in their lives where they just fell out of communication, and you know how people are, they grow in different ways. But Danny does eventually have to come back to this town when she's about 17. I think she moved away from there when she was 13. When she's about 17, final year in high school, she has to come back to this town, and it's not as she remembers, but by it I mean Alec isn't how she remembers. He's a jock now. When they were kids, he had no athletic bone in his body. He's very outgoing and confident, but Danny is a little different too. She's not as outgoing and confident as she used to be. She's a little bit more shy, and so they both left that friendship as different people and came back to this time as different people. And so they stopped being friends when Danny moved away a couple of years ago, and now when she's back, it's sort of like, yeah, you're just a stranger to me, but we evidently have some history with each other. We do know each other, but Other than that, we are practically strangers. But an incident happens where it forces Alec and Danny to fake date. That's where fake skating comes from. So it forces them to fake date in order for them to both get something that they need. And the whole rest of the book goes along how they're both grappling with these feelings of, okay, we're fake dating and we both acknowledge that this is fake, but damn, this might not be fake. So, you know, like any fake dating plotline, they always follow that structure. But this was just really, really cute because because of the fact that they were childhood best friends, it adds a nice little layer to their fake dating shenanigan, you know, their whole situation. It made it really earned in a sense. You know, when you do fake dating and it's just like, this is a person you've known for 3 months. What do you mean after this fake dating experiment, you're fully in love? I mean, I know that can happen, but personally, I do not like stories like that. But when it's a childhood friend story or someone you do actually properly know and you're fake dating, it feels better earned when you do like go through the motions with each other. But the other thing is, these are not the same people that they left. You know what I mean? Like, Danny left as a different person. She comes back as a different person. Alec was different from when she left. And so it's trying to also relearn each other. This is a different person from who was my childhood best friend. So also trying to grapple with the terms that past Danny and present Danny are one and the same, but also quite different, you know? So fake skating is not only just a cutesy romance, but it's also just, I think, a nice, if I can say, comment on friendships, especially when you are growing in different directions and you sort of can't recognize the other person. But at the same time, you still can see the core of who they are, and that core is that person you, quote unquote, fell for in a friendship kind of way. Or if it's like a friends to lovers, then yeah, you fell for them. Yeah, you fell in love. You were in love with them. But yes, that is what the spoiler-free version of fake dating is. My honest review of it, again, without giving any spoilers, is it was just really, really cute. I love a good romance, especially YA romances tend to be so wholesome. And this was extremely wholesome. It was really fun of a read. I enjoyed the small town vibes because it's a small town in Minnesota, very close-knit community. Everyone loves hockey. Oh, I forgot to mention that Alec plays hockey and he's like the captain of the hockey team now. And so very different from what Danny left with. But you know, they're a hockey town, so everyone is like so in love with this hockey team, but everyone is such a family. And I really liked the small town vibes that were happening in the book, and just the themes, some of the themes that were explored, and just the whole experience was really, really good. Again, this is now my favorite Lynn Painter book. Wes Bennett from Better Than the Movies, he definitely has competition. It's a tight race, but Alec is really winning. He's a great love interest, and that's all I have to say for the spoiler-free version. So if you are brave enough, if you have not read the book, to listen to the spoiler version, stick around. And if you have read the book, sit back, mamacita. Let's chat. Let's unpack this together. So with the spoiler version, the first thing I'll talk about is what I liked. Now that we can speak freely amongst friends, what I loved the most about this book. Oh my gosh. There's just something about a down bad man. Alec was like he had this cool boy persona about him. He was, nothing ever fazed me. I'm so on top of things. I'm just too cool for school. And that's actually a point that I want to bring up, and something I didn't like about the book. We'll talk about that later. But when it came to Danny, though, all of that dropped. He was just so whipped. He was a man in love. And one of the main things I liked about this story was just how whipped he was for Danny. Like, let's not lie about it, guys. Did we all not enjoy? I think we all enjoyed the locker room scene. I think we all had a good time. What do you mean I'm superstitious? Let's lock our necklaces. What do you mean? But like, Alec was just, Alec was, that's really what I can say. And this being dual POV really, it made it a lot better. If I was only in Danny's POV, I don't think I would have liked the book as much. Alec's POV really, really made me enjoy it to a whole other level, because it was interesting to see that he was more than just his jock persona, especially when it came to Danny. Because let's take, for example, when they were in their speech class or speech and debate or whatever it was, and Danny was like hyperventilating up there. She did not want to do speaking. And he did this he played on his jock persona to make sure that she didn't have to go, that she didn't have to speak when she wasn't ready. And I love that. He did amazing things for her. Another thing, different locker room scene, but when Danny was in the locker room crying about the conversation she had with her dad, him just being there for her, or even though his show was off, but him just being there for her, even though they had not fully spoken, they had not addressed anything, was beautiful. It was really, really nice that, again, underneath his whole cool boy persona, he really cared about Danny. Even besides Alec as an individual, just the dynamics between him and Danny were also really good. Their chemistry was amazing. Their little back and forth sometimes were just so cute. The way they played with each other when they were fake dating, the little pet names, how they would act together in front of people. When I read the scene in that underground bar thingy and he had to kiss her in front of her granddad. Oh my word. Oh my days! They have such great chemistry. What do you mean? Like, hey, it's you're not up for the challenge? I think you have to do it. You've never not backed down on a dare, Alec. Are you gonna back down now? Is this too difficult for you? And then the whole icy patch thing, icy hot, whatever that thing is, I don't know. It was so good. And then another thing I really liked was, and I briefly mentioned it in the spoiler-free review, the whole small town vibe. I do not come from a small town by any means. I have not ever experienced a small town, but reading this really made me crave the small town experience. Just the whole close-knit community, everyone feels like family. It just sounded so beautiful, and the way it was written was so beautiful. Everyone going to each other's houses before games, for a nice big dinner. You call each other's parents like they're your parents in a way. Everyone is just so connected. Another great thing about this book was the playlist. And that's just great about every Lynn Painter book. Oh my word, when Alec mentioned that he's got a cousin who loves creating playlists, and I was like, Liz, is that you? Liz, baby girl, is that you? It was beautiful. But the playlist for this book was perfect. What do you mean we had Little League by Conan Gray, Undressed by Somber, Now That We Don't Talk by Taylor Swift? It was hit after hit after hit. Even if I didn't know the song, when I was listening to it, I was like, I understand, Lynn. Yes, I understand. This is good. Thank you. There was a role model song on there, and I never listened to Role Model before. But after listening to that song, I now listen to Role Model. Lynn Painter listens to Role Model, so I decided to listen to Role Model. It was just a good playlist. It was a really, really good playlist. But so many things about this book were good. But that also means just a few things were bad. I rated it 5-star, but there were a few things I just wasn't in love with. So one of the first things I didn't like was the language. I know, 21 years old, I'll turn 21 later this year. I'm in my early 20s and I'm still not a fan of language. Sue me, okay? why did he say the F word like a bajillion times in this book? I don't know. When I was in grade 12, I wasn't like this and that, and like I wasn't cursing every sentence, you know what I mean? It just didn't feel realistic. Maybe teenagers roll like that nowadays. I'm like 3 years out of high school. I don't know. Maybe they're doing it. It's unbeknownst to me. But I just was not a fan of how many times Alec, especially, just in general in the book, how many times cursing was done. It was an unseemly amount. One of the other things that I didn't like was the ending, but it's in the way that the ending was just so rushed. Miss Lynn, I need you to hop on the phone right now. I got some questions. I hope you have some answers, because there were so many things that just were not addressed. Firstly, when we found out that Danny's dad had been receiving all of Alec's letters and he just threw them away, and that's just in the last 10 pages, so there was no room for Danny to be like, what did you write in the letters? And, oh, I'm sorry, like, maybe I don't remember it, but did she even explain it to Alec? Did Alec ever find out that she did receive those letters? Maybe I just don't remember it well, but I wish we touched on that a little bit more. That is the main reason they fell out. Like, he thought that they were done in their friendship because she wasn't responding to their letters anymore. And these letters meant a lot to them. They had their secret language. They said they were going to send them this many times. And because they lived so far apart, this was the only way that they were communicating. It was a big deal for both of them. So why weren't we spending a big chunk of time on addressing that matter? That is the whole reason that they fell out in the first place. You know what I mean? You would think we'd address it a little bit more. And I wish we did. And not only that, but the whole Benji situation, was that his name? Yeah, Benji. If he's not Benji, I'm calling him Benji. Benji Worthington. The whole thing of him threatening to call the police on Alec for beating him up, and then he's like, well, if you don't, if you break up with Alec, then, you know, I won't call the police. Laughs in Maserati. They broke up and then they got back together. Where's Benji in this picture? Did news not travel to Benji? Did nobody hit him up and say, hey, bro, did you hear they're back together? And did he not hit up the police and say, hey, well, look what happened to me? No, what? Benji was a terrible person. We didn't really experience that too much throughout the book, but especially in the ending, we realized, oh, you're like bad. So what stopped him from going to the police anyway after they had gotten back together again? Realistically, I think he still would have gone. He's an entitled kid. I really think he would have gone. And then also, it was never addressed why Danny took Benji to Alec and Danny's spot the night that Alec's dad got into an accident. Why wasn't that spoken about? I mean, in that scene where Benji is like, ha ha ha, laughs in Ferrari, but you know, when Danny took me to the spot and, you know, she showed me this place and yeah, he was just like egging Alec on, but that wasn't giving us any information about why they were there or what happened, or, you know, why she didn't decide to come see Alec afterwards or anything like that. So I had lots of questions about that situation. Again, Lynn, please hit me up. I wanna know, is there like a second book peeking around maybe? Because that's the only explanation. I need a second book, I need a novella maybe. I know there's the extra chapter that you can find online, but that's just the icy hot scene from Alec's perspective. But no, give me that night. Give me the night that Danny decided to take Benji to their little crib, to their MTV cribs. I want to know why they went there, and yeah, then things will be fine and dandy. So those are my biggest gripes with the book: the language and the ending feeling rushed. And Lynn, if your team just allowed you to have like 30 more pages, I'm sure we could have worked this out. I think that book needed an extra 30 pages to just iron things out. things would have been great. It would have turned a 5-star read into a bajillion-star read, but such is life. I still really enjoyed the book regardless. But just some final thoughts on the book to wrap up the review section. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I was giggling, kicking my feet. I was so in love the entire time. And another thing is, this book is being adapted into a movie, and this is going to be the only Lynn Painter book that is being adapted into anything at all. And there's been a whole lot of online discussions about how this is being adapted before better than the movies. And you know, as an international relations student, as a politics student, you know, you just have to analyze that in the political climate that we're living in now. I'm kidding, but I'm low-key not. You need to understand that the market is really, really open to sports romances at the moment. We had heated rivalry. We're getting the, what is it called? The off-campus series coming soon. The whole internet breakage over Icebreaker because everyone was in love with it. Ice hockey romances and then also sports romances, but it's mainly like the hockey ones. Those are huge in our market right now. And so the whole rom-com-esque books and adaptations that you can go for, those aren't really that popular right now as compared to the sports romances. So that really explains why we're getting fake skating before we're getting better than the movies. I would love to see better than the movies adapted. I needed it yesterday. It is really, really good, and I think it would do amazing as a movie. It will, I think, my hypothesis, it will bring back those early 2000s rom-coms vibes. It will bring it back. It's just so good. It's perfect. So, oh, I didn't even notice that these books fell. Anyway, it's just a perfect book that perfectly fits those vibes. It will bring back that era. But hey, the world ain't ready for that yet. The world is not ready for the early 2000s rom-coms excellence to come back into this year. So that is why Fake Skating is being adapted first. It's not that it's the better book or it's the better story. It's just that it's the story that Hollywood wants right now. I guarantee you, if another author comes out right now with a hockey romance, it's gonna get picked up immediately for movie or TV rights. Just like with all the romantasy books, you know, Powerless, Fourth Wing, what else has been coming out? Like all of those really popular romantasy books, every single one of them being given film and TV rights. I don't know, which book was it that didn't even release yet and got film and TV rights? But it's not saying that those books are bad. It's just that is what the market wants right now. So if it comes out and it's popular and it's right for the era, then yeah, that's what's going to be made into the movie or TV show. So would definitely love to see a better than the movies adaptation, but you know, I'm okay with the Fake Skating for now. I cannot wait to see who they cast as Alec. You know, I have no fan casts in my mind. I think it just should be a completely unknown actor. I don't want to have seen him anywhere before. I just need a fresh factory reset wipe on Hollywood right now. We need some new faces, okay? And one of them needs to be Alec. That's just how I'm feeling right now. But I'm so excited for the movie. As you know, as they say on the internet, I'm seated. I'm simply too seated. The cinema workers are asking me to leave, but I am simply too seated for Fake Skating. And then also, along with my final thoughts, I think maybe this is also one of the things I didn't like, but I think we should have gotten more of Alex as an individual. Now, that sort of sounds like I'm contrasting what I said earlier, where I enjoyed his whole, I'm a cool guy and this, but when it comes to Danny, I'm so in love. It was just when it came to Danny, we got nothing, again, if memory serves right, we got nothing to explain how he turned from who he was as a kid into this whole hockey captain, like, you know what I mean? There was just like a really big jump and who he was as a kid into who he is now, Danny also had a jump. Like, Alec described her as this outgoing person, and now she's so shy and she can't speak in front of people. And we get in Danny's perspective that she went through a whole bunch of nonsense during high school with mean girls and with these cliques and everything. So we understood why Danny is who she is now, but we did not get a lick, you know, of trying to understand why Alec is who he is now. Maybe it passed me by, maybe I just didn't open my eyes enough, but I cannot remember a single thing that explained why Alec is this hotshot hockey player. Even Danny described that he was not good at sports when he was younger. So what changed in those couple of years that we were apart? I needed some information. So that is also something I wish, you know, those extra 30 pages we needed to give Lynn, that should have been discussed as well. How Alec made that jump. That would have been another cherry on the cake to understand him as a person. Because outside of their relationship, outside of their friendship, they are individuals. I understood Danny as an individual. She had a great arc. Her relationship with her father being explored, her gaining a relationship with her grandfather, the dynamic she had with her mother, coming to terms with not everyone is out to get you, that not everyone is going to leave you when it came to trying to have friends. But Alec, what happened with Alec? Alec, were you here, sweetie? But, you know, we did get a little bit of how Alec feels about his father's accident and how it impacted him. And that was really good information. I liked understanding how much that impacted him. And also understanding how much anxiety he holds about his hockey career. Hockey being the only thing that his family is really counting on for, you know, helping pay off the medical bills, making sure that he can get a scholarship to university. Those are really big things to accomplish in life. That's a lot of pressure he has in his life at the ripe young age of, what was he, 18? Like, homeboy was going through it. And I'm glad that was also something that we touched on a little bit when Alec went out walking with Danny, and he explained to her, yeah, I'm going through a lot right now. Everyone is counting on me. And if I mess up, everything is gone. You know, the medical bills will just keep getting higher, unpaid. He won't be able to go to university. He can't. It's like life will stop. And genuinely, it feels like that sometimes when you're a kid who has so much responsibility on you to succeed, because everything else for your family banks on that. That's so much responsibility, and that is so much pressure that at some point you might just break down. You won't know how to function anymore. So I like that we unpacked that part of Alex's life a little bit, but I do wish we got to see how he got to that conclusion that maybe I should do hockey. Maybe I should start learning to play hockey so I can help my family out. How does my personality have to change in order to fit this hockey persona so that I'm seen more? Like, there's so many things about Alex that really could have been shown a lot more. I just wish we saw more of Alec as a person and not too much of him as Danny's fanboy in a way, you know what I mean? Like, we did get a little bit of him as a person, but we needed a little bit more. There were quite a few parts of him we needed to unpack just a little more. Now, for the final segment of today, we're going to go through the unhinged 1-star reviews. Again, they're not really like unhinged, but they just made me laugh. So once more, it's okay that people will have different opinions from you. I rated this 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book, but it's still okay to know that other people didn't enjoy this book. Other people rated it 1 star. But, you know, you gotta expose yourself to different opinions. You still need to be conscious of what other people can think sometimes, and know that that does not have to like be the end all be all. Just because someone doesn't like something I like doesn't mean that the world is going to go up in flames, you know? So let me read a couple of these. Okay, I wrote these down. The first one, and when I saw this, I was like, what are you saying, babe? It was just, there was so few words, but so many emotions when I read it. And so this person just said, oh, I'm not hungry. Babe, what? And when I looked at that review, I thought, oh, is she referring to the fact like when Alec used to eat with Danny in the library because he noticed that, you know, she didn't want to eat with everyone else because she's a bit scared of being around others, of making friends that might leave her, and he decided to still hang out with her, and she'd be like, oh, do you want something to eat? But he just wanted to be around her. I thought they were referring to that, and they thought they didn't like that. But no, this person genuinely was not hungry for the book. They were like, my appetite is full on other things. I'm not making space for that. And I thought it was so funny. The second review, again, few words, but you know, it tells a story. This person said the Black Dog was on his pre-game playlist. And this is referring to The Black Dog by Taylor Swift from her Tortured Poets Department album. And I sort of get this comment. One of the biggest things that people have been talking about online about Alec was, how on earth does this 18-year-old boy have Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, Conan Gray on his playlist, and he'll be playing these songs before games to psych himself up, like to get him into the mood? What? How is he such a lover boy? Low-key, I understand it. I know a couple guys in my life who listen to Taylor Swift sometimes and Olivia Rodrigo and stuff like that. It feels totally believable for me. But the Black Dog specifically, that sounded so funny. It's a good song, and the Tortured Poets Department was a good album. I will say it wasn't my favorite. Swifties, don't come after me. I just prefer 1989 and Folklore. Those are my favorite albums, especially 1989. There's something so fun about 1989. It makes me feel like, you know, everything is gonna be all right. You know, hey, everything's gonna be all right. But with Tortured Poets Department, I wasn't as into it as the other albums, but it was still a good album. And The Black Dog especially was one of my favorite songs off the album, even if I didn't enjoy the overall experience of the album that much. The Black Dog was still good. But I do understand what this person means by, like, of all the songs, especially if he listened to Taylor Swift, of all the Taylor Swift songs he could have included on his pre-game playlist, he put The Black Dog. Like, it is a little funny to think about. Like, yeah, I'm about to go into battle. Oh no, wait, let me play Traitor by Olivia Rodrigo. You betrayed me, like, you know? But another one-star review that this isn't like, again, none of them are unhinged, but this puts into words how I felt about the language thing was, this person said, I counted the F word 283 times, no exaggeration. How did they allow this? I kept reading it because it was a game to see how many times the F word was used. And babe, I just love the commitment you had to continue reading as part of the game. And I applaud that. Well done for you. If we had to take a shot how many times the F word was used, we all would be in hospital. You could consider that, you know, as really dangerous activity. But yeah, those were just a couple of one-star reviews I saw that just made me laugh. There were others where I was like, yeah, I understood what you meant. Like, maybe it was a little slow in the beginning to get into it. The ending was too rushed. But for me, in my opinion, personally, hashtag redundancy, but all in all, for me, I enjoyed the book very, very much. I knew there were things that I just wasn't sitting with, like the rushed ending, you know, those unanswered questions, the language. Those weren't things I wasn't enjoying. But the overall experience and the story itself was just a lot greater and made up for those small things. Like, they're big, but like small, considering how good the story was to me. It was a really, really nice story. But yeah, one last thing that I have to say, and this is for all the girls who know, but you know, sweat, lose your breath. Hey, anyway, you a little bit sweat. One more time for the playlist. Let's give another hand to the playlist because, wow, Lynn Painter, how do you do it? You need to teach me your ways. How do you do it? Because when I saw the lyrics for that song just written in the book, I was like, wait, let me go listen to it. Because it wasn't every time I was reading that I was listening to the playlist. But I decided to go listen to that song while reading the scene. I was like, man? Alec? Oh, I was gobsmacked. I was flabbergasted. One more time for the playlist, especially Sweat. That was a good song. But yes, that concludes today's Book Nook discussion for Fake Skating by Lynn Painter. It was a really, really good book. I enjoyed it so much, and I can't wait to watch the movie when it eventually comes out and just read more of Lynn's books. She is really an author for me. And yeah, this was a really, really fun experience. I loved the book. I don't know what will be the next book I do a review discussion on. It could be Book Lovers, since I'm 70% through with that. Or it could be anything else. We don't know. But whatever it might be, I'm looking forward to unpacking it and discussing it. Well, that concludes our little Book Nook session. Unfortunately, guys, the library will be closing for the day. Oh my word, no. But on your way out, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe or follow, and comment down below what was your favorite scene or moment from Fake Skating. I would really, really love to know what you guys enjoyed in that book. And remember the fine: if you don't put away the books and materials back where you find them, you won't be able to get your necklaces interlocked with someone. I know we all want that to happen for us. We do want to have our necklaces interlocked in a locker room. But if you don't put back the book where it was, that won't happen, babe. So put it back, okay? But yes, thank you for coming to visit me in the library today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.